When people think about getting older, they almost never think about their liver. They think about wrinkles when they look in the mirror. They think about their knees hurting when they stand up. They worry about forgetting names, losing energy, or their heart getting weaker with time. But let me tell you something most people don't realize until it's far too late: the organ that quietly decides how fast you age. The organ that determines whether you stay metabolically young or slide toward chronic disease is sitting silently right beneath your ribs: your liver. And here's the uncomfortable truth I've learned after years of treating patients at the worst moments of their lives. Aging is not just about the number of years you've lived. Aging is the slow accumulation of metabolic damage, and your liver is ground zero for that damage. I've spent years seeing the end stages of this process: heart attacks that came out of nowhere, strokes in people who thought they were relatively healthy, diabetes complications, kidney failure, sudden declines that seemed mysterious and unavoidable. But when you trace these conditions backward, not months, but years, sometimes decades, they all lead back to the same origin point: metabolic dysfunction. And at the center of that dysfunction, again and again, is the liver. The problem is that most people don't really understand what their liver does. They think of it as the alcohol organ or the detox organ. And yes, those functions exist, but that understanding barely scratches the surface. Your liver is not a passive filter. Your liver is the metabolic command center of your entire body. Every minute of every day, it's making decisions that determine whether you burn energy or store it, whether hormones stay balanced or drift into chaos, whether inflammation stays controlled or quietly spreads. Between meals, when you're not eating, your liver keeps your blood sugar stable so your brain doesn't shut down. It releases stored glucose at exactly the right pace to keep you alive and functional. It stores vitamins and minerals and releases them when your body needs them. It clears used hormones like estrogen, testosterone, and cortisol so they don't build up to harmful levels. It produces bile so you can digest and absorb fats. It breaks down toxins and inflammatory byproducts that would otherwise damage your tissues. Every major longevity pathway in your body runs through your liver. When your liver is healthy, it's flexible, intelligent, adaptive. When it's not, the entire system starts aging faster. Here's what happens every time you eat. Nutrients flood into your bloodstream: glucose from carbohydrates, amino acids from protein, fatty acids from fats. The first major processing station they encounter is your liver, and your liver has to make decisions. Do we burn this now? Do we store it for later? Do we send it to muscle for repair? Do we convert it into something else? When your liver is healthy, those decisions are dynamic and appropriate. If you've exercised, nutrients get routed toward muscle repair. If glycogen stores are low, they get refilled. If you're in a calorie deficit, fat gets burned. But when your liver becomes metabolically compromised, those decisions stop being flexible. The liver starts defaulting to storage. It starts turning excess nutrients into fat, even when your body already has more than enough stored energy, even when you're already carrying excess body fat. This loss of metabolic flexibility is one of the strongest drivers of accelerated aging, and the switch that flips your liver from healthy to dysfunctional is surprisingly simple: fat accumulation inside liver cells. This condition is called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and it's shockingly common. Roughly 1 out of every 3 adults has it, many without any idea because it often causes no symptoms at all. And this is critical to understand. Fatty liver is not a harmless cosmetic issue. It is an active metabolic disease. Fat inside liver cells interferes with insulin signaling. Insulin is the hormone that tells your liver, "We've got enough glucose. Stop producing more." But when liver cells are packed with fat, they stop listening. Even when insulin levels are high, even when blood sugar is already elevated, the liver keeps dumping glucose into the bloodstream as if you were starving. Your pancreas responds by releasing more insulin. Blood sugar stays high. Insulin stays chronically elevated. This is where everything starts to unravel. This is where type 2 diabetes begins. This is where blood pressure starts creeping up. This is where visceral fat accumulates around your organs. This is where atherosclerosis accelerates. These are not separate age-related diseases. They are downstream effects of the same upstream problem. Chronically high glucose leads to glycation. sugar molecules sticking to proteins throughout your body, forming advanced glycation end products. These damaged proteins stiffen blood vessels, cloud the lens of your eye, and weaken collagen in your skin and joints. At the same time, high insulin and glucose impair your mitochondria, the power plants of your cells. Damaged mitochondria leak reactive oxygen species, creating oxidative stress that damages DNA and cell membranes. Your body can repair some of this damage, but not when it's happening every single day. And layered on top of all of this is chronic low-grade inflammation, what we call inflammaging. Inflammatory molecules meant for emergencies get released continuously. Blood vessels stiffen, brain function suffers, joint cartilage breaks down, muscle maintenance falters. Your brain is especially vulnerable. Insulin resistance reduces glucose uptake in neurons, essentially starving parts of the brain. Inflammation damages blood vessels supplying the brain. Over time, this dramatically increases the risk of cognitive decline, vascular dementia, and Alzheimer's disease. Your brain's aging trajectory is being shaped right now by your metabolic health. And there's another critical link most people miss: muscle. When your liver is insulin resistant and constantly flooding your blood with glucose, your muscles also become insulin resistant. The signals that normally trigger muscle growth weaken. Muscle loss accelerates. This process, called sarcopenia, is one of the strongest predictors of poor aging outcomes we know. Less muscle means worse glucose control. Worse glucose control worsens insulin resistance. And the cycle feeds itself. You cannot maintain muscle effectively in a metabolically hostile environment. And here's the dangerous part: liver disease progresses silently. Your liver has enormous reserve capacity. You can lose half its function before symptoms appear. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't warn you. By the time fatigue, jaundice, or fluid retention show up, damage is often advanced. That's why waiting for symptoms is waiting too long. You don't need advanced scans to get a sense of your liver health. Waist circumference matters. Visceral fat and liver fat track closely. Elevated triglycerides, especially with low HDL, are a red flag. Rising fasting glucose, creeping HbA1c, subtle increases in liver enzymes. Clusters matter more than any single number. Now here's the hopeful part: liver fat is highly reversible. Unlike arterial plaque or joint damage, liver fat can decrease within weeks of the right changes, often before major weight loss occurs. That means you can interrupt the aging process upstream. Excess refined carbohydrates and sugar, especially liquid sugar, drive liver fat creation. Fructose is metabolized almost entirely in the liver, making it especially problematic in excess. Ultra-processed foods make it worse by suppressing satiety. Protecting your liver comes down to fundamentals: lower insulin demand, create daily fasting windows, build and maintain muscle, prioritize protein, eat fiber-rich whole foods, stop grazing all day, avoid late-night eating, lift weights, walk after meals, sleep well, minimize alcohol. These habits compound, and they work because they restore metabolic flexibility, the true foundation of longevity. Longevity isn't about supplements or biohacks. It's about protecting the systems that make everything else work. Your liver is the gatekeeper. Protect it, and you slow aging at its source. Ignore it, and no downstream intervention can fully compensate.